Hey guys, how goes it? In today's video, we're having a look at the RK84 keyboard. Now, whether you know this or not, the 84 essentially stands for 84 keys over here, making this essentially a 75% keyboard. And in today's video, we're going to see if this keyboard lives up to its retail value, if it's the right one for you, and of course, whether or not it can meet your gaming needs. As always, if you guys enjoy this video, hit that like button, sub to my channel. It genuinely helps me grow and means the world to me. Let's get started. In terms of packaging, the RK84 comes in some pretty standard stuff. So you have that nice orange and black theme going on, a basic design of the keyboard. Again, on the back side, you kind of have this blueprint of the keyboard itself. Pretty standard stuff. Once you proceed to open the box itself, lay it flat, it opens in a pretty traditional way, and inside, of course, you have the keyboard itself and a ton of protective packaging. Once you remove all that, the first thing you'll notice is the instruction manual, quick start guide, and user manual, the basic stuff. And beyond that, finally, here it is in all its glory, the RK84 keyboard in pure white. More on that in a minute though. Beyond that, you also have the inclusion of a USB-C charging cable. Good to see they're up to date in terms of cable standards. Beyond that, you'll also of course find you do have the key plucking tool. This is a hot swappable keyboard. Both the key caps and the actual switches are entirely swappable. Again, more on that in a minute. And finally, you do get a couple of spare red switches. So yes, this is in the red configuration. It also comes in the brown and blue by default. Moving on to the design of this keyboard, the first thing you're going to notice is that this is primarily a hard TP or plastic build. But don't let that discourage you, because this is a very well built and sturdy piece of hardware. So you'll notice first and foremost that the keycaps have this nice gray font to them that looks good with or without the RGB lighting enabled. On top of that, the keys are put together in a nice linear fashion, as you'd expect of a 75% compact keyboard. Furthermore, another really cool thing about this design is that the outer plastic frame can actually be removed, exposing the key switches. This looks really cool. If you prefer to have the key switches and the RGB lighting kind of leaking out from the design of the keyboard, you totally have that option, or simply put the plastic frame back on. On the rear side of the laptop is where you have all the ports. So of course, the USB-C charging port to charge the keyboard itself. Additionally, you also have two USB-A ports, and that's right, these are output ports, meaning you can actually connect your phone and charge it from here, or connect any third-party USB compatible accessory. How cool is that? Seriously. Now, on the bottom side of the keyboard, you'll notice you have two switches. The first one is to swap between Bluetooth and wireless mode, and the second one is just the on-off key for the physical power on the actual keyboard itself. Additionally, you'll notice that you have rubber grips to keep the keyboard in place, and something I didn't mention that came with the box is the two detachable razors. So these magnetic razors can simply attach towards the top rubber grip areas of the keyboard, hence giving it that height you like. This is pretty cool. Just make sure you don't lose these two pieces. In terms of connectivity, you essentially have three ways to connect. The first one is using the included USB wireless dongle, so you can connect this to any USB port and plug and play. Unfortunately, the overall range is very bad. At just 2 feet, you start losing keystroke registrations, which basically means that if you're any further than that, it's not a viable option. Instead, you may want to opt to use the included Bluetooth connection that comes with this keyboard. And finally, if you don't have Bluetooth, you can connect through the good old-fashioned wired way using the USB-C cable that's included. From a typing experience, this is a very well done keyboard, like I mentioned earlier. So it doesn't feel cheap or finicky in the slightest. Every keycap is sturdy. Also, you get an ample amount of feedback, whether you're typing or gaming. And if you are gaming, you're gonna love the fact that the keystrokes have a reasonable amount of key travel. It really does give a very wholesome gaming experience. Unfortunately, for a red switch keyboard, I do find that it's more clicky than usual, and honestly, I can only imagine how much louder the blue and brown switches will be. Of course, with that said, you're probably wondering how this keyboard sounds, so here's a quick sound test. As you may have already guessed, this is a fully RGB backlit keyboard, and while the color spectrum isn't as vibrant as some more higher end keyboards like Logitech's G815 and 915 series of keyboards, it's definitely ample. You'll appreciate the fact that you have multiple modes of lightings and also a ton of different colors to choose from. Also, the overall brightness of the keyboard is really good, and all this can be configured directly from the keyboard, no need to install any sort of software. And finally, the most exciting part, yes, this is a fully hot swappable keyboard. None of that phony stuff where you can just replace the keycaps. Obviously, you can replace the keycaps, but you can go the whole 9 yards and replace the individual switches as well using the key plugger tool. So simply put, if you want to use a non-RK based switch, let's say Gatron key switches for example, you can totally do that as long as they're 3 or 5 pin switches. I love the customization over here, and I really like the open-ended approach the RK team has taken with this keyboard. I do also want to briefly mention battery life. So the RK team claims that you can get up to 200 hours of battery life on a Bluetooth connection with no backlighting. In my experience, around 50% brightness for the backlighting, I was able to squeeze approximately 1 week worth of use at roughly 6 to 8 hours a day of non-stop usage, which is really impressive. And I was using the 2.4 gigahertz dongle, so I don't know if Bluetooth will make a huge difference, but overall battery life on here is plenty and can last well past a day. In summary guys, priced at $85 USD, the RK84 has a lot to love and very little to dislike. So a fantastic build quality that feels nice and sturdy, also a ton of customization in the form of hot swappable keys and switches, also a removable plastic frame, a ton of ways to actually connect the keyboard, and also a decent palette of RGB backlighting that keeps it nice and flashy. With that said, the biggest thing holding this keyboard back unfortunately is the 2.4 gigahertz wireless dongle. The range is abysmal at just approximately 2 feet. It's something that the RK team should have looked into more deeply before releasing this product. But again, given the other ways to connect and also the fact that it'll work fine at a small range, it doesn't have to be a problem for you. It's just something to keep in mind. Overall, I can wholeheartedly recommend this laptop for gaming and also for productivity if you're into ultra compact keyboards. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like button, sub to my channel. It genuinely helps me grow and means the world to me. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.